Welcome back to the program, everybody. Today, we are going to discuss the news and what's all happening all across this nation. And of course, there are socialist experiments that we got to get through, uncover, and basically let you know what's going on in New York and what could be coming to a neighborhood near you. And of course, there's more to come on the Iran war and all that the president is working on. It sounds like there's a little bit of a pause, but could something be working on the inside? Like, let's say, a ground invasion. Who knows? We will talk about all of that and more when we come right back.
We pray for love and unity, and that the church would find new zeal and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart.
Welcome back to the program. This is the Political Pulpit. I'm your host, Josh Navarrete. It's so good to be back here with you this beautiful Monday afternoon. Was kind of going through the news wire this morning and early this afternoon and just kind of seemed a little mundane. Not a whole lot going on until the socialist experiment decides to poke its ugly head out in New York. We'll uncover some of that. And of course, like I said, the Iran war is not exactly over, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be over anytime soon. There might be a little bit of a pause, but there could be some things that are working behind the scenes, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But first, thank you for joining us. We want you all to make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button because it helps us get through the algorithm. We want to make sure that everybody gets to see what's going on the news wire. If you're watching us on YouTube, you got to hit that notification bell. Extremely important, so you're notified every time we go live. You can always watch us on osn.tv. That's the only source network where you have unfiltered news, such as this show. You have prophetic news like the End Time Show and many others that are on there that you could download this app. Use my name, Josh, for an exclusive 10% off your subscription there. And it goes to a good cause because it's conservative Christian news and talking heads. All right, so we want to get to more of what's happening in the world, but you could do that also by visiting us at www.politicalpulpit.com. You're going to get unfiltered news just as it comes. We're just going to give it to you, articles written by myself and others that will show you what's going on. But of course, it's from a biblical worldview, and it's a really good place to get, ad-free news articles, and you can also sign up for our newsletter. And thank you to our partners that have helped us get to where we are now. You want to find out how to become a partner, go to www.politicalpulpit.com/partner. All right, now that we've done all the housekeeping stuff, let's get to our first clip as they start queuing that up. What do you guys all think? Before we start playing this first audio here, this clip, what do you think about the Democratic Socialist movement? Isn't that already kind of, it's not just New York, by the way. This is happening in other places like Minnesota. There are other, now you're starting to see movie stars from Hollywood. Oh, that beautiful, wonderful, holy place, Hollywood, where movie stars and actors and God knows whoever else are starting to say, oh, I'm a democratic socialist. So this is not just an isolated thing. This is not just an isolated moment or person. It's spreading throughout the nation. And I think we should pay attention. Let us know what you think. All right, let's roll this one. It says, give me one quick second. Sorry about that. It says Trump doesn't believe Russia could have provided Iran with satellite imagery. He says he'll ask Putin about it. Play it.
President Zelensky says that Russia is giving Iran satellite imagery of U.S. bases in the Gulf to help them target. What can you do about that?
Well, we'll find out if that's true. I'll ask Putin about it. We'll find out. It hasn't had much impact because we've knocked the hell out of it, what do you think? If that's the case, look, they gave Venezuela a lot of equipment.
This is something that we mentioned last week, that I think we're going to start uncovering who's helping Iran in different areas. We're going to find out really quick who's been assisting Iran, because they didn't get here by themselves. And, oh, would you know it, I think we helped Iran not too long ago with pallets full of cash, but that's for another show. All right, let's cue up the next clip. The thing is that this is something that's going to be up and down. You know, we also mentioned last week that there are missile manufacturers out in Arizona that are in high production. And there's news coming out that there is a low stash of weaponry, and that's why the president's hit pause. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I think it's just a moment to re-up and go at it again. The biggest fear is, could we be seeing a ground invasion? We'll talk about that in just a moment. There is reportedly a buildup of U.S. military forces around Iran. Well, there you go. Fleets of military aircraft have been spotted in the region, shuttling in supplies as if creating a staging ground for a potential operation. Are we about to invade Karg Island? Well, let's find out. Go ahead and play it.
Well, look, we saw this before, this guessing game in the region about when the United States would launch a large campaign against Iran. And in the days leading up to Operation Epic Fury, it was a very similar situation. Weeks went by and analysts made guesses about when this would actually take place. But the U.S. doesn't want to project what they're going to do against Iran, but they want to keep the economic pressure on the regime to try and force them back to the negotiating table. So this time period that we're looking at, this window right now, is serving two purposes. One, it is giving diplomacy a chance to play out. But two, it's also acting as a staging operation for the U.S. military. Each and every night, there are cargo planes landing in the region with ammunition and supplies. Some of those supplies are for defense and others for offense. But the bottom line here, the Trump administration is poised if the president decides to launch this large-scale campaign against Iran in the days or weeks ahead. Well, look, we saw...
That's not exciting news if you're not happy about the war. We have to win this war. It is a war. Missiles are flying to our bases, and we are sending missiles to the region. So that's considered, I think, a war, not just an operation. Well, what do you guys think? Let us know. Should we invade Iran? Should we get into something that looks like Iraq and, you know, the battle and war in Iraq in the early 2000s that lasted well into 2010, 2011, or whenever it was? I can't remember when it ended. But I think we are getting into the areas where this is becoming more involved than I think any of us really hoped. This could be something that, you know, we're not ready for as Americans. Remember when the whole COVID thing happened? I know this is different, but it's almost as something is brewing, something that we weren't ready for. And there are bigger powers at hand or that are working on the inner workings that we probably don't know about, but we hear about, we read about, we wonder about, and conspire about. And it's, here we go again. This is a vicious cycle. This is a vicious cycle. I don't care what the president is, who's involved, whose administration it is. It's as if this comes in right on time. Does that concern you all? It concerns me because I have young boys that are coming of age to fight wars if they wanted to. Or what if they have to? What if there's a draft? This could be the beginning of something big. Are we going to see a world war? There's a pause, and they're saying there's a pause because there's, you know, a lack of ammunition. I highly doubt that because, like I said, I'm going to keep saying this over and over. We know manufacturers that are producing thousands and thousands of artillery and bombs and missiles right now as we speak. There's no way that we are rationing at this stage of any battle our weapons, our missiles. As a matter of fact, he said it right. I think this pause is allowing for a moment of diplomacy, maybe negotiations, but in reality, it's a pause so that people can get in place and have a new strategy. I think that's what's happening. All right, let's cue up the next one. Let's take a look at what's actually happening on the ground. Saudi Aramco's, I can't say a lot of this stuff, but we'll try. Abcake, what? Refinery has been struck by drones, causing a massive fire at the facility and the east-west pumping station. NASA firm's satellite imagery confirms extensive fire activity at the site. Abqaiq is the world's largest crude oil stabilization plant, processing 5 to 7% of global oil supply. No, that's not good. Saudi Arabia has blamed Iran-backed resistant groups in Iraq for the attack, begun emergency flaring at multiple production sites, and says it reserves the right to respond. Well, here we go. Play it. It's an oil fire. We all know what that looks like. This always revolves around oil, guys. It's always around money, power, and oil. And then us, you and I, we have to pay for it because the cost of oil goes up. Then we pay it at the gas pumps and our groceries. All right, next. We're going to use Iran's money to pay for the damage they did. In other words, the Iran money that we control will be used to pay for damages. He's been saying this. The president said this last week. Let's hear what he says today. Lost audio. Same issue? All right, we'll give you a chance to refresh. All right, well, let's just give it a shot. So, the president is going to try to figure out how to make Iran pay for the war. How in the world is he going to figure out how to do something like that? Well, I think you continue to take control of the region. You continue to fight. You continue to take over, especially their military forces and stations. They can't launch drones anymore and missiles, and no longer can build their nuclear warheads or whatever they were working on. I think there's one building that mountain that they're going to go attack. Apparently, we have the technology for that. At some point, it's going to have to get done. Let's try to get this audio again. Go ahead and play it.
You said that Iranian assets will be used to pay for damages to ships that are hit in the Strait of Hormuz. Would the U.S. pay shipping companies directly?
No, we're going to use Iran's money to pay for the damage they did. In other words, the Iran money that we control will be used to pay for damages. Sound good? Not bad, right? He should be reported. Okay.
You said that Iran.
So apparently the U.S. controls their money. Apparently the U.S. has control of their financial sector or piles and piles of cash, and they're going to pay for it, which is an amazing thing because, they're going to go to Congress and try to get more money like they have in the past week or so for continuing this war. And it's going to be a fight because not every Republican, it's probably becoming more split. And you got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's not even in office anymore, spewing hate against this administration, which is crazy because they helped her get to where she's at, where she was, and now she's spewing hatred towards the very people that helped her, and she's trying to become like this voice of reason when everybody knows about how what her activity was like behind closed doors, but we won't get into that. All right, next up. Whatever happened to sending U.S. troops into Iran? Well, it's hard to launch a ground invasion when your staging bases have taken a beating. That's exactly what the Iranians did to U.S. bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. Swarms of drones hit their targets, headquarters destroyed, warehouses reduced to rubble. Not exactly the launching pad for a ground war. Roll it.
These three areas are the areas where the United States was going to stage what was a ground invasion into Iran. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that anymore. These three areas, these are the places that have been devastated. Military installations have been devastated. U.S. military installations is what we're talking about. We'll start with Bahrain, which is probably one of the most important parts in all of this. Look at Bahrain right there, okay? So there's an air base there. There were two, actually, that were hit, but one big one that was hit with a swarm of drones, and they say like 50% of them got through. The command headquarters, all but destroyed. Warehouses were blown up. Satellite communications in the Bahrain units were left essentially inoperable. The other place that's been hit is Kuwait, just above that, at the very tip at the end of the Persian Gulf, as you see right there, right? And there were aircraft hangars were gone, fuel storage bunkers gone, the radar and satellite systems were knocked out, logistics warehouses were also taken out. Now, remember, these are places where the United States had troops, and they were planning to use these to possibly stage an attack to go into Iran.
So people like this, though, they make it sound like the U.S. doesn't have any option. What they're trying to do is make it seem like we're incapable of doing any more operations. And if we honestly wanted to do a ground invasion, we couldn't do it. I mean, there's a lot of negativity swirling around the war, and I understand it. I don't want war. You guys, I'm sure, don't want the war, but certain things had to get done in order to stop Iran in its tracks. We're basically playing catch up with them because they have been building drone systems and missile systems, getting stuff from North Korea and Russia and China. You know, we can't sit there and act like there wasn't some help given to them by other nations. And as they were building their whole goal was to overwhelm the United States at some point in the near future. They weren't hiding it. It's in their education systems. It's in their rhetoric. It's in all of their news media. When they would meet in their governmental spaces, they would chant out loud, "Death to America and death to Israel." So I mean, why is this such a surprise that we have to stop a nation like that wishes that we were dead? And at some point, we're going to attack. They were going to do things to try to mess up the America, the USA. It was not going to happen. And then you got people like that just saying, well, how are we going to do this? And how are we going to, invade if they destroyed these bases? Come on. It's really, we have the greatest military in the world. We are the greatest nation in the world. If we had to do something, trust that we were going to get it done. But it's not something we want to happen, by the way. I just hope that we can get in here and get out. And I really, really, I'm not excited about a ground invasion, but I want to trust that we know what we're doing in this war. All right, next. The U.S. Hasn't launched strikes on Iran for the past 3 nights, but the White House says military action is still on the table. So there was a bit of a pause, as we spoke about earlier. Officials say Washington is weighing diplomacy. I feel like we played this video already. At the same time, Israel remains on high alert. Netanyahu's warning of a very, very forceful response to any attack. And tensions continue rising after Ukraine says it struck Iranian military cargo vessels in the Caspian Sea. Go ahead and play it.
For the past 3 nights, the United States has halted strikes against Iran, but the White House is making clear the military option remains on the table as the administration is exploring a variety of options moving forward with both diplomacy and intense economic pressure. The U.S. naval blockade does remain in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars per day.
The Iranian regime is isolated, economically devastated, militarily devastated. Inflation is spiking. The currency is tanking. Foreign currency reserves are gone. And we're starting to see the Iranian government even not be able to pay its own workers and even its own military.
Axios reports that the top U.S. military commander in the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper, recommended stopping the bombing campaign around the Strait of Hormuz because it has reached the limit of its effectiveness, according to 2 sources with knowledge of his position. Now, despite the pause in military action, countries across the region remain on high alert. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with Fox News over the weekend ahead of his trip to the United States, where he described what will happen if Iran attacks first.
If Iran attacks Israel, either directly or through proxies, either with ballistic missiles or UAVs or killer drones, it will make a terrible mistake because our response, Israel's response, will be very, very forceful.
We're also tracking another interesting development in this conflict involving Ukraine. According to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, this weekend, Ukrainian forces struck Iranian vessels that were carrying military cargo between Russia and Iran in the Caspian Sea. The Iranians responded by saying the strikes cannot go unanswered. There are a lot of moving parts right now in the region, but there's also an ongoing U.S. military buildup to give President Trump a variety of options moving forward.
You guys, this is really heating up. I mean, if you look at that one report already, there's military movement and action happening, even though missiles aren't falling. Now Ukraine's involved, and there's other nations that are willing to take action against Iran. Many people are pointing their fingers and missiles and ammunition, their barrels are barreling down at Iran. But this is where it gets dicey. We could be seeing something amped up because other nations are saying, all right, this isn't fair. We need to help defend the region. Who else would get involved? Now we have Ukrainian forces striking vessels against Iran. And now they're saying this can't go unanswered. So now they're going to send, what are they going to do to Ukraine? This stuff is getting serious. And just because there's a 3-day lull, there's a 3-day pause, I feel like things and people and munition, vessels, military action is happening as we speak. And it's a big, big deal. All right, let's roll the next one. We have a lot of ammunition, different types. Biden gave a lot to Ukraine, and so we're building that up. We have a lot. We have a lot of the mid-level stuff too. I mean, more than we could ever use, no matter what. And this is what I was saying earlier, that people are saying, oh, we're running out of ammunition because the president's dumping it all on Iran. Like, let's get real. We have the greatest military in the world. We're not running out of missiles. Play it.
Are you concerned about depleted stockpiles if there is a rocking conflict in Iran?
We have plenty. We have a lot of ammunition, different types. Biden gave a lot to Ukraine. And so we're building that up, but we have a lot. We have a lot of the mid-level stuff too. I mean, more than we could ever use, no matter what. But we have a lot. I'd like to have more, to be honest. But so much was given to Ukraine by Biden. When I left, the cupboards were full. When I came here with Obama, he didn't buy ammunition. We had very little, and I got it built. Now, as soon as I left, they gave a lot of it to Ukraine. I mean numbers that nobody's ever seen before. So we're building it very rapidly. Plants are being built. A lot of equipment's being built. The Patriots in particular are being built. The THAAD system is going up. We have a lot. Every one of our contractors is building 4 to 5 plants right now.
I just
and
told
we're
you guys
in very
that
good
last
shape. But for some of the more sophisticated stuff, we'd certainly like to have more. Biden gave a lot of it away.
I just said this last week. The president said this today. I was telling you guys this last week. I know for a fact, we said it twice, 2 different shows, that contractors are on full operation. The pedal is to the metal. The gas is all the way full throttle. And listen to what he said. He says, I wish I had more because the president wants to be fully loaded. And the capability that the United States has, when you have all these contractors just pumping out missiles and heavy equipment, higher technology, drones, robots. Like we haven't even talked about the robotic systems that are going out and the AI systems that are going out. This is all happening right now and being restocked or filled to the very top. If I know anything about this administration, he wants to make sure that they have way more than enough. Not just, we're full. He wants to have extra. I know people like the president. They like to have extra. I wonder who that's like. All right, next. He also says, hours before Netanyahu's arrival in D.C., President Trump makes clear Israel would not survive without America. You know who wouldn't survive without us? Israel. If I didn't get involved and if I didn't blow up those soon-to-be nuclear weapons, the dust, as I call it, Israel would have been terminated months ago and years ago. Play it.
Got to be money that would actually indirectly come to us. So we got a lot of interesting things going, but our country is the strongest we've ever been. It's the hottest country anywhere in the world. And frankly, we're being very nice to a lot of countries that would not survive without us. And you know who wouldn't survive without us? Israel. Bibi's coming, he'll tell you. If I didn't get involved and if I didn't blow up those nuclear, essentially soon-to-be nuclear weapons, the dust, as I call it, Israel would have been terminated months ago and years ago. Got to be money that would actually...
Israel is obviously the number one ally to America. Probably would be a whole different country without this country. And for some reason, so many people have issue with that. And it makes zero sense because they act like Israel's our only ally. And then there are crazies out there that believe Israel, this tiny little nation, has power over our country and our president. All just nonsense. All right, next. Okay, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, before departing on a visit to Washington, he says, I am on my way to Washington for a meeting with our friend, President Donald Trump. This is my 8th meeting with him since he was elected president for his 2nd term. More than any other international leader. This is a great privilege, but it is also a great responsibility. From the experience as Prime Minister during these complex times, we must act with both great determination and great wisdom. We will discuss all the issues on the agenda. First and foremost, Iran. Naturally, our goal is to safeguard our security and also to expand the circle of peace around us. I am embarking on this mission with one clear goal, to ensure the security, strength, and future of our dear state of Israel. And I'm also embarking on another mission, to pay final respects to our true friend of mine and of the state of Israel, Lindsey Graham, one of the greatest friends the state of Israel has ever known. And I am certain that in this matter, I also represent you, the citizens of Israel. Go ahead and play it.
אני בדרכי לוושינגטון לפגישה עם ידידנו נשיא ארצות הברית דונלד טראמפ. זו הפגישה השמינית שלי איתו מאז שהוא נבחר לנשיא בקדנציה השנייה שלו. יותר מכל מנהיג בינלאומי אחר. זו זכות גדולה, אבל זו גם אחריות גדולה.
Okay, they pay.
מניסיוני כראש
I
הממשלה.
just read it all to you. He's addressing his nation. And of course, we welcome him. This is where Mamdani says he's going to get arrested. How dare he? Like he needs to make sure that the bills are paid, that the budget is balanced, that he's doing his job as mayor. He can't arrest any world leader. He's such a buffoon. All right, next. Reporter, Netanyahu opposes sending F-35 jets to Turkey. Trump, nobody tells me what we should be selling or not. Turkey has been a great ally. Thank you. This is my whole point. How many times have you guys heard me say that Israel's not our only ally and nobody else complains about the other allies? And we're sending jets to Turkey. Israel doesn't like it. The president says nobody's going to tell me what to do. Play it.
Prime Minister Netanyahu opposes sending F-35s to Turkey. Are you going to tell him?
Look, Turkey's been a great ally for me. I think he's done a very good job. Did a good job with Syria. He's a friend of mine, and nobody tells me what we should be selling and not. Turkey has been a tremendous ally for me. It was up to Turkey. Turkey's not a big fan of Israel. You know that, right? And not a big fan of Bibi. But he is. They've been great for me. Turkey has been great. Very powerful country, by the way. Tremendous military. Very big military. Very powerful military. Has a lot of great equipment.
See, that's the difference between other nations. The United States should be a nation that's able to keep peace between others. For all of you yahoos that say we shouldn't be involved in other foreign affairs, this is why it's important to have allies all over the world and to make sure that everybody plays fair and plays nice. Because we are the most powerful nation in the world, the most powerful military. We have the authority and the power to make sure that people stay in line, like Turkey. And it's okay to sell them the equipment that we are because they make agreements and alliances and they sign deals to make sure that other allies of ours aren't harmed by the same military equipment. Now, do they all play fair and do they all listen? No, but the point is that it gives us more leverage. Nobody wants to complain that we are an ally with Turkey. They only want to complain and say that Israel's running America. Complete nonsense. All right, next. Hop in. Best dimension yet. This is the video. Go ahead. Okay. That was crazy. That was crazy. That's coming from your White House, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure what it's all about, but the point is I think they're making fun of the whole alien movement. They must know something we don't, or we know something they don't. And it's probably a little bit of both. Marjorie Taylor Greene freaked out about that because she's so righteous and holy. She's got plenty to say. All right, next. Dr. Fauci's diary is filled with entries, entries bragging that he is the most famous person in the world and gleefully celebrating that he is taking the spotlight away from Trump. He's absolutely gross. So it's a press conference or a press release. Let's see if I can read through some of this. CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell and Fox with Bill Hammer. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, all at task force meeting, I stressed the problem about the PPEs being diverted to, I can't, it's too small. So anyways, to testing as opposed to HCWs. I also emphasize this strongly at the subsequent press conference again. We met with POTUS after the TF meeting and in preparation for the presser. Very good press conference. Big front page article about me. That's the point of this article. It's all about him, Mr. Ouchie Fauci. What a loser. He'll never get, he's got, you remember, he's been pardoned. Why would somebody pardon Dr. Fauci? I wonder why. Probably the man that's got away with the most crime. He ruined so many lives with his antics. What happened to 2 weeks to clear the curve or whatever it is, to bend the curve? And then what about 6 feet apart? What a debacle that was. So frustrating. All right, next. Justin, DHS is planning to surge Ohio to arrest and deport Haitian immigrants who recently lost TPS. Roughly 350,000 Haitians are subject to for removal. All groups who lost TPS will be targeted for removal. Roll it.
Right now, ICE planning dramatically to ramp up operations to deport Haitian migrants here in the U.S. This after the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Trump team, ruling that TPS, known as temporary protected status, is temporary. Right. Federal sources telling Fox that Ohio is heavily targeted. Let's get into that now with Chad Wolf, former acting DHS secretary. Thanks for coming back and good day to you. Here are the numbers as they only apply to Haiti during the Biden years, going back to fiscal year 2025. I would draw the attention of our viewers to that bottom line number. Total encounters of Haitians under the Biden administration, almost 500,000. Chad, what now?
Yeah, look, Haiti had TPS since 2010, so going on almost 16 years, wow, where each administration just kept extending it and extending it. And I think the Trump administration, as they have across about 9 or 10 different countries, have said that temporary protective status is just that, it's temporary. So the idea is that these individuals, if they don't adjust status, will need to leave the country, and ICE is there to enforce that order of removal.
Okay, so Chad, here's my question. I remember when this was happening, there were several countries who were given TPS, and Haiti was just one of them. So why is the attention on the Haitians right now, or is this just the first group?
Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be on the Haitians. I think it's going to be on all of those individuals, like I said, across 8 or 9 different countries that the administration has ended TPS on. They're all going to be targets for removal. And so I don't think it'll just be the Haitians, although that's going to be the largest group, as you indicated with those numbers. The Biden administration not only extended TPS, but then allowed a lot of these Haitians to come in on parole and other types of status coming in. And the administration has ended all of that, getting back to the original intent of immigration law. So, again, the focus, I don't believe, from ICE will just be on Haitians, but that's obviously what's being reported now. But there'll be other groups as well.
Okay.
The reason why it's always reported this way is to tug on the hearts of people and Americans so that they can fight back. The truth is, it's a sad story if you have been here this whole time and now you have to go back home to a terrible country which is completely fallen apart. You can thank NGOs like the Clinton Foundation and others, because those countries are they're so poor and so devastating. It's not a great place to live. Now the problem is that these other administrations before this one, and we will get into all that, have just let people flood in. We know the story, and I could tell you firsthand, riding on airplanes to my destination and seeing cabins full of Haitians being flown to different cities during that administration, especially the last 4 years. But they were like, they were given brand new clothes and shoes and bags, and they had all these packets with them. They didn't look like they came from a third world country. You just knew that they did because of the way they were speaking, talking to some of them, finding out where they come from and where they're going. Now that everything has been lifted, there's going to be a bigger operation. And I feel like there's going to, especially, just mark my words, the last 2 years of this administration is going to be complete chaos. It's going to keep this show, the Political Pulpit Show, extremely busy because of the chaos that we're going to find, started by the media, the way they're going to report things, what they're going to say. They're literally going to be the ones standing in front of a city that's burning down and saying it's generally peaceful. We know how it's so predictable. But I'm just concerned that we're not ready for the type of chaos that they're going to try and do on this country. But anyways, let's go to the next one before I make you guys depressed. New. China's nuclear fusion research has completed a massive magnet weighing 582 tons. The goal is an ultimate energy artificial sun. Oh, wonderful. Let's play God. They plan to start the first power generation by 2030. A safe CO2 zero ultimate energy race. That sounds crazy. Play it. So I'm imagining, I don't know anything about generating power like that, but I'm imagining that thing's going to spin so fast, it's going to be like a nuclear reactor and generate tons of power. Let's just hope it doesn't mess anything up. Because we all know when you try to play God, Tower of Babel. Next. Now, Ugandan NYC Mayor Mamdani just stunned America by launching 5 government-run grocery stores with prices set 30% below retail prices. So you're undercutting every grocery store in the neighborhood. What a buffoon. The government is setting the prices. No exceptions. This is such a horrible idea. Prepare for pain, NYC is cooked with communism. Roll it. Reluctantly roll it.
I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores. This core set of goods will include all fresh produce, meat, and seafood, along with 20 other essential items like cheese, milk, and bread. Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line. Not for our seniors living on fixed incomes, nor for the parents who rely on a regular supply of apple slices to keep toddler tantrums at bay. Now,
oh, you're so funny.
Can we all see this incredible example of produce in my hand? Now, you will see these plantains here. So for anyone wondering how much these beautiful plantains might cost, you can use this QR code or head to grocery.com.
Oh man, what a disaster NYC is going to experience. So, how about balancing your budget, like we said before, stopping crime, and utilizing your taxpayer dollars in a better way instead of giving people free, or just a state-run grocery store, a city-run grocery store. and you're fixing prices. How does that work for Cuba? How did that work for Cuba and these other countries? It's like you're trying to run, I don't know what you're thinking. It's such a bad idea. Such a horrible idea. All right, next. Justin, several people injured after tornado in Appleton, Wisconsin. Play it.
Look at that car.
He's okay. Just got checked on. You check on him.
I think the police officer's upstairs. There's massive debris flying in the road. Look at that. Reed, look at the car. Oh my God.
All right, next. The other thing about this, before we get into this one, we're going to see a lot more stuff happening in this world. We got earthquakes, tornadoes, and I heard this El Nino weather storm is going to be crazy. So let's keep our eyes on that. Go ahead and play the next one. Oh, this is our favorite governor, Arizona. Katie Hobbs is under criminal investigation for an alleged pay-to-play scheme. She is not our favorite governor, by the way. When our children needed to be protected, Hobbs instead gave away a $4 million taxpayer raise after she got a six-figure political donation. I hope this destroys her political career. Play.
Katie Hobbs is under criminal investigation. A state contractor that is supposed to protect kids gave Hobbs $400,000 in political donations. Then the Hobbs administration gave that contractor an extra $4 million a year, something no one else got, while kids in state care waited. Now Hobbs is under criminal investigation by the Attorney General from her own party. Katie Hobbs is for sale. Andy Biggs answers to you. Paid for by Biggs for Arizona.
Paid for by Katie Hobbs, Arizona. So there was an interview that she had that was, do we have that? She's such a disaster. They ask her about it, and all she says, we are in communications with them. By her own party, they're not going to do anything to her. But all we can do is run the story and make sure that voters know how ridiculous she is. And make her speak, because she's terrible at it. Play it. Absolutely disgusting and desperate lie from the governor, who is under investigation for corruption. Democrats are desperate. Get active now. Don't wait until October. Play.
I think it's very clear that Andy Biggs shifts his position based on what the president wants. And that was the case in this situation. But I think what I want to say about the Epstein files and how Biggs has handled that, it is really part of a concerning pattern of using his position to protect pedophiles and sex offenders. Going back to when he was Senate president, and I am a career social worker who spent my career defending and supporting victims of violence and abuse, protecting families and children. And when Andy Biggs was Senate president, he protected a cult of pedophiles in Colorado City. He blocked a bill that would have helped end that cult. And because of that, untold damage was done to so many women and children in that community. When I ran a bipartisan bill to help end the backlog of untested rape kits in the state, he blocked that bill. This is part of a pattern of his protecting offenders and pedophiles.
I love how they just kind of package a whole situation into he protects pedophiles. It's just like people like her to go to the Epstein files, which we all agree. Victims should be protected and the truth should be told. But it's going to be this tired accusation from the left to the right. But when they had power, nobody on their side was mentioning the Epstein files. And now she's going to package these whole entire bills that were terrible and were dealt with later on as Andy Biggs protecting pedophiles. It's just such a tired argument. Anyways, that's really all we have time for today. I wanted to get as much as I could as far talking about the Iran war and letting you know what Mamdani is doing in New York, because it could come to a city near you. And of course, we need to be watchful. We need to pray. We need to pray for our president, for our government leaders, for our military, those that are abroad serving our military right now, or who are in our nation training and are at boot camp or serving. There are reserves, our active military, everybody. Pray for them all. This is such an interesting time to be alive, but I think we need to be ready. We need to be on high alert and make sure that you know what's going on by joining us at the Political Pulpit. I want to thank everybody for joining us and being a part of what we are doing. And we just hope and pray that you are blessed by this program. If so, hit that like button, hit the share button, that subscribe button. Let your friends know about us. Send this video off to somebody so they know what's going on in the world. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow right here on the Political Pulpit. Thank you so much. God bless.